Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's doing fine. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, guys. What's the date, guys? We're losing track of time. It is the 15th of July, guys. The 15th of July, 2025. It is a Tuesday. And still, we are awaiting transfers, guys. We are getting really, really worried now. Things are not happening quick enough. Things are going too slow. But I'm going to try and bring some news to you guys to add an element of hope. Should I say hope? It's the hope that kills you. It's the hope that kills you. I've got some news about a Lyon veteran midfielder, I would say, who's been linked with Manchester United. We've also got another goalkeeper, a Luxembourg international, who has also been linked to Manchester United. And we also got some Mbeumo news, guys. That's coming up very, very shortly. But guys, before I start, please don't forget to smash a like on the video. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you could be as kind, guys, to do that for me. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Let's get straight into it now, guys. Right, look, Manchester United, of course, have been linked with around 100 players, 100, 200 players now over the last few months now. And it's obviously very easy to get lost in the news in regards to the players that Man United link with, who we're going to get. What's fact from fiction? Now, one thing about Man United, what Man United need to do, and you know what, and they have been trying, is bringing in players that they could bring in at a discount price, or who are talented, who are experienced, and that has been proven very, very difficult for Manchester United to do. Now, obviously, we put all our eggs in the Embumo basket. Mbeumo's the guy. He's the one we want, blah, blah, blah. Look, we're not going to walk away from Mbeumo. Absolutely not. It'd be absolute insanity to walk away from Mbeumo now, whilst we are really, really close to the deal being happening, of course, guys. But one player Man United are being linked with over this last 24 hours is a player that, you know what, I think he's very good. Plays for Lyon. His name is Tolisso, the French international. 28 caps for France, 2 goals. He is 30 years old. But the key to Tolisso is he is 12 million euros. He's rated at 12 million euros. So that is very, very interesting because it is cheap, isn't it? This is what Man United want. Man United want cheap as chips. His contract expires in 2027. I don't know why he's such a low fee at the moment. It could be that Lyon need to make some money. You know, they did have the financial problems, didn't they? They were reprieved from that relegation. They overturned that relegation, didn't they? So Tolisso is a player that interests Man United. Does it interest you? Would you be happy with that central midfielder? Incredibly successful player, World Cup winner, Champions League winner, a very good player, guys. He's won a lot. And you know what? Yeah, what I would say, as a squad player, it wouldn't be that bad. It wouldn't be that bad as a squad player. But, I'm looking at him thinking it's a very underwhelming signing, if I'm being fair. It's underwhelming. I think Man United need better. But you know what? I wouldn't say no to anyone at the moment. The good thing about Tolisso, again, he can play central midfielder, defensive midfielder, and attacking midfielder. So he is versatile, and he can play in various positions, which we may have to be looking at that, guys. We may have to look at players who can play in various positions, because we're not going to sign as many players as we had hoped. It's pretty obvious now, isn't it, that we're not going to sign the players that we hope. So we might be looking at players now that can play in various positions, so that can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak, guys. Thiago Tolisso has been around for a very, very long time, guys. He's played for Bayern Munich and Lyon, mainly. Those two. He did start his career at Lyon, went to Bayern Munich, smashed it at Bayern Munich, done very well at Bayern Munich, and now he's back at Lyon, of course, guys. Lyon are still looking to raise some funds. They believe it. Because obviously they were relegated temporarily, and they're looking to raise some money. So you know what, I would have preferred to bring in like Fofana or someone along those lines, not Tolisso. But you know what, Man United are linked to him, so here we are today, of course, guys. Let's read some of your messages. Hope everyone is doing blessed today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, of course. Good day, Albie. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. Good to see Sanjay. Good morning. Hope you're doing well, Sanj. Good morning, Natty. What's going on? I think I brought a little bit of brightness to it. One more to Mbeumo. Here we go. Cheers, Kenny. Cheers. I've got my moo cup. Here we go. There we go. Cheers, Geddy. I hope so, mate, because you know what? We are definitely really, really fed up with this Mbeumo story. You know, they've taken the life out of this Mbeumo story. This has no more legs. This is like, just get the bloody deal done, for goodness sake. All the excitement out of this Embumo deal is absolutely out the window. Out the window. It's gone. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Big up, one more day. Big up, Kenny, by the way. Morning, Dan. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope everything is blessed with you. Albie, one more, hopefully. Let's hope. Fireboy, morning, brother. Hope you're doing well, friend. I hope you're good. Good to see you, of course. Do we have money at all? No, Dan, we have money. I tell you this right now, Dan, Man United have money. Don't let them manipulate you into thinking they don't have money. They have money. The difference is they don't want to put their money into the football club. That's the difference. When you look at someone like Todd Boehly has not only found loopholes in the FFP and the PSR, he's also putting his own money from his own company into the club. Basically, what he's doing is buying the women's team for 300 million of his own money, right, of the company money, and putting it into the football club. The guy found loopholes, guys. Right? I'm not no financial expert, okay? But what I do know, I've met a lot of millionaires in my time, right? And what I do know is that what millionaires do, and billionaires, what they do is that they find a way. They find a way. They find loopholes, you know? It's a bit like tax and things like that. Now, I'm not saying avoid tax and things, but there are ways to avoid paying maximum amounts of tax. You know, and millionaires find a way. They find it very easily, to be honest with you. And if you know about the Wesley Snipes story, you know you'll know that you can. And if Jim Ratcliffe wanted to, if he really wanted to, put money into the club. And let's remember, he was going to buy Chelsea for 5 billion. I've said it many times. He was going to buy Chelsea for 5 billion. Let's remember that, right? What happened to that 4 billion left? Right, there was 1 billion he put into Man United. What happened to that other 4 billion? So if he wanted to, he could put that money into the football club, but he refuses to do that. Which means, to me, a 77-year-old with so much money, he doesn't really care about the football club. All he cares about is his vanity and the regeneration project. Of course, big up Dan. Big up, Mark. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Morning. Let's hope it's true. Let's hope so, guys. Morning. Big up, Mark. Big up, Albie. Big up, big up. Yeah, I spoke yesterday about the deal almost being done. Of course, the deal is almost done, but I've totally lost the will to live in regards to the Embumo deal. There's rumours that this morning that Man United might walk away from the deal. Then Man United have got close to the deal. But look, Man United are close to the deal. Let me just say that Man United are close to the deal. I said it. I said by the end of the week, I did say, guys, long time ago, a week ago, that we're going to do it when the kit release is done. I've already said it last week. I said when the kit release is coming, don't be surprised if we get news about Mbeumo, because that is what they want. They want the PR. They want the PR and they want the shirt sale. So Man United will get the deal done with the PR, guys. I said it last week, 16th of July when the kit released. There we go, guys. Pretty obvious, isn't it, Kenny? There you go. Big up, Randy. But I hope so. One thing I do, I hope so. I hope it does come to tuition. I hope it does happen, because I'm tired of the deal. If I'm being honest with you, I'm fed up with the deal. Do you know what I mean? Big up, Randy. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again, my bro. Hope everyone is blessed. So, if Ratcliffe is true, he will sell his share at the time if he cared about the club. This is precisely the thing. Evidently, he doesn't care about the club. Evidently, everything points towards he cares about a regeneration project. That's all he cares about. He's not bothered about the club. I don't really think he knows about football in general. I don't think he cares about football in general. I don't think he knows anything about football, to be honest with you guys. I really don't. Big up everyone, of course. Big up everyone. Not really at his age. Look, at the end of the day, Fireboy, Man United might be left with no choice to do these sort of deals. And this is what we have to face reality at the moment. We're wasting time. We've got no time. Personally, I don't think that Man United will be going after a midfielder this summer. I think so. I know we should be, but I don't think we will be. I think Man United will sign a striker, sign an Mbeumo, sign a goalkeeper, and that'll probably be it. And speaking of goalkeepers, guys, Man United have been scouting various goalkeepers around Europe, of course, guys. And one of these goalkeepers, you may not have heard of him, he's a Luxembourg international, Diego Pereira Cardoso. Right, he's a goalkeeper who currently plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's a Luxembourg international, 19 years old. What's intriguing about this player, Diego Pereira Cardoso? Well, his contract expires in March. Okay, so his contract expires in March. His valuation is 1.5 million euros. And Man United are, of course, when you speak about prices like that, Man United are very interested in it. It's going to be very interesting. Man United are going to go after players like 1.5 million. Oh yes, straight away, he's good. You know what I mean? He's brilliant. Yeah, well, Thiago Pereira Cardoso is a very good goalkeeper, only 19 years old, one for the future that Man United could be looking. Man United now this gives an air to me of a replacement goalkeeper or a backup goalkeeper in regards to Onana. This is what it does to me. I think it sounds like a backup goalkeeper, and yeah, you know, a player that is kind of a bolt out of the blue. To be honest with you, many people haven't heard of him, of course, guys. But yeah, a very capable young goalkeeper, up and coming goalkeeper for Luxembourg. I mean, when's the last time we had a Luxembourg player, a guy from Luxembourg? We have never, have we? At the end of the day, so. You know what I would say is that, yeah, no, 1.5 million can't go wrong. Extra goalkeeper in the mix. But you know what I would say? Yeah, get VTech in there, give VTech a chance. Because you know what? VTech, I think, is a good goalkeeper. He's proven himself, you know, on loan. And I think he deserves a chance before anything else. Before we go buying players, I think he is. My only concern is that Bayinde, obviously, his agent has been talking about moving clubs. He wants to know. He wants to have clarification on his future. I don't think Bayinde is going to play much football next year. I don't. I mean, I like Bayinde, but I just don't think he's that good. He had that great performance against Arsenal, didn't he? He had that great performance against Arsenal. Then, you know, the other games he played in, he didn't really shine like we wanted him to. And I think that Bayinde could be leaving the football club, of course, guys. And that means Man United might bring in a Thiago Pereira Cardoso, of course. So let's wait and see what happens there. Big up, Milton. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing at some point. They have financial problems, Milton. Absolutely. They have financial problems. Lyon have financial problems. Lyon need to raise some money, as far as I'm aware, anyway. The clock is ticking for Mbeumo Sal. Yeah, the clock is a countdown. I did say a countdown because obviously last week I said that Man United are going to be releasing the kit and they're going to also release Mbeumo. I hope that happens. I hope that happens. It would just be typical of Manchester United to do that. Now, we could deem this a positive thing. We could deem this a really exciting. Yes, this is great. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'd be very disappointed. And the reason I'd be disappointed is because that would tell me that they lied. That would tell me that they purposely dragged this transfer on all the way to the kit release. You know, because there's no coincidences in life. You know what I mean? This is what, especially when it comes to Manchester United, right? And that would tell me that they're only caring about the business side of things. You know, the shirt release, selling the shirt of Embumo, because they know people are going to go out there and buy the black kit Embumo shirt. You know what I mean? That's what they're going to do. And that would disappoint me because that would show me that, you know what, they purposely done this. They purposely dragged this out, you know? And I want to thank my guy, Helge, okay? Helge, who comes on the stream every single day. Look, he gave me this, okay? So, Matt, this is from Ornstein in January, guys. In January. This was from Ornstein. Manchester United, this January transfer window was more about getting the house in order for the summer. Now, read that again, guys. This January transfer window was more about getting the house in order for the summer. Now, guys, this was from David Ornstein in January. In January, guys. January, right? Now, it is the summer. What have we got in order exactly? Can someone tell me what we have got in order? What is going on here? Liars, manipulated. Pathological liars, guys. That's what they are. You know, and you know what? Because this happens a lot. This didn't just happen under Ineos. This happened under Glaze and stuff like that. This happens a lot. That January comes, we need a striker, we need this, that. And then, you know, they're promising for the summer. And then they break their promises. No, they lied then. They lied. And as I said, they lied when they walked into the football club. They lied that they're going to buy the football club by 2026. You know, they've made numerous amounts of lies. They lied that they're ready for this transfer window. Even in May 28th, when Barada came out and said, we are prepared for this transfer window. We've been working on this transfer window for months. We are prepared. We are relaxed. You know, they lied then too. They are pathological liars, guys. They are. And you know what? We can't trust these guys at our football club. They're lying to the fan base. They're treating the fan base like idiots, like fools. And here we are, guys. July the 15th, mid-July, still on, what is it? What is it now? For goodness sake, are we on the 40th day of the Embumo deal? Since the 2nd of June, Embumo agreed to come to Manchester United. And we are here on the 15th. Now, if he comes to Man United, at the day of the release of the kit, if there is a here we go, right? This is what happens to Man United because they're working the fans, they're playing the fans like fools, right? They will release the kit. The share value of Manchester United will go up through the roof, bring in Mbeumo, ta-da! You know what I mean? It's going to go even further up, and they're going to sell shirts as well, and they're going to make profit on it. Now, that will be fine. That will be absolutely fine. You make money. That's clever. Well done. You know what I mean? But at the same time, what else you got done around? What else have you done? Man United don't need any pretty little surprises. Man United need players. Man United have got about, 10 players that need to leave, 10 players that need to come into the football club. And we're just messing around here. This is a unique situation here. This is a unique situation because this unique situation, we came 15th. This is not like any other season where, don't panic. We challenge for the Champions League and that. This is different. We came 15th. This is why Man United needed to hit the ground running. We needed to get it going straight away because the work that needs doing at this football club is astronomical. We do not accept 8th place. I do not accept 8th place. I'm not happy with 8th place. I'm not happy with 6th place. I'm not happy with 5th place. Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. We should be up there challenging. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. Let me tell you that right now. You can sign Mbeumo, you can sign Cunha, you sign a striker, you sign a midfielder, you sign a right wing back, you sign a goalkeeper. You never know what can happen in football, right? Not every player has to be world class. As long as the spine of your team and the nucleus of your team is, and if we did that, we would have a fighting chance. Look at Chelsea. Look at Chelsea, how they spent $1 billion. All right. They sort of threw things at the wall and hoping something sticks. But they spent $1 billion, but they didn't stop. They carried on going until they got it right. It's not ideal. It's not the best way to do things, but they carried on going until they got it right. What we've done, we stopped. So no, I'm not doing that again. We made too many mistakes. Keep going and keep signing the players until you get it right. Why can't we have an ownership like that? I mean, at the end of the day, if we're not going to get the ownership that is clever and smart, why can't we get an ownership that likes to spend money? You know what I mean? That likes to throw things at the wall and hoping something sticks. Because at the end of the day, it's just like we've kind of needed that. Because when you think about Onana, for example, when we signed Onana, we found out pretty quickly that Onana is not the goalkeeper for Man United. But because we signed Onana, we couldn't go to another goalkeeper because he cost too much money. But Man United needed, like Man City did with Bravo and players like that, of that ilk. They bought goalkeepers and then he wasn't the right goalkeeper, so they got another goalkeeper in. He's not good. We get another goalkeeper in until they got it right. How many players did Man City sign until they got the nucleus of their team correct? I think that's what Man United need to do. I do think that is true. And with every business, sometimes you're going to have to experiment to get things right. If you want to make that perfect pizza, you got to experiment until you get it right. Do you know what I mean? And it does take investment. And this is what exactly Man United need. Man United need investment. That's what we need. Proper investment. Not 60 million for Embumo and 50 million for Cunha, and that's it. Rest on your laurels, that's it. Man United need a complete destruction investment in players in and players out. Absolutely. Let's read some of your comments. Let me just get this up. Big up everyone, of course. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, you absolute legends. Wow, lots of comments coming in, flying in, guys. Big up everyone. Big up Huncho. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Tolisso's too old, but you can put Eriksen placement where Eriksen more technical, though. I don't know about Eriksen. Eriksen had no legs at all. I mean, Eriksen got that injury against Roy Carroll, you remember, and ever since then he just didn't really play well. I think Tolisso. His experience is good to have for the squad, in my opinion. Would I prioritise a player like Tolisso? No. But the price, obviously, is attractive to Man United. You're going to get him for about 15 million. So that's not too bad, is it? You know what I mean? And bring him in as a squad player, which is, all right. I do think Man United needed a little bit of solidarity in that midfield. I don't think it's quite as good as it should be. I'm liking the look of Casemiro. Look, I know we've saw the pictures of them training, Casemiro looking trim and stuff like that. That's great. That's fantastic. Let's hope that they keep fit and they keep in shape, of course. So, if Ratcliffe is a true fan of United, he will share it in other people. Absolutely. Big up, Grail. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Monzo, brother, hope you're well. Morning chat. Very decent of the press and transfer window. All we're getting there is its links, but nothing else. Galenos have sucked the life out of the club. Absolutely. There we are. You know what we needed, Grayo? Qatar. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Let's hope we get some good news today. Seeing other clubs buying and selling makes us look foolish. We need to start. We need to play for Arsenal our first game. Look, big up Caitlin, by the way. Hope you're doing well. We got the first game against Arsenal. Like, look, don't be surprised, guys, because this has happened many, many times. Man United beat Arsenal. But that won't really mean nothing if we're 10th by December, you know? So Man United could win their opening 3 games. We could beat Arsenal, beat Fulham, and beat Burnley. And then everyone's going to be giddy. Everyone's going to be happy. But we have to be realistic here. You know, we're looking at our squad. We've beaten Arsenal. We've proven that we could beat Arsenal numerous amounts of times. We beat Arsenal last season with 10 men at the Emirates. Now, it will be very, very horrible. Let me tell you this. And I want people to think about this, right? It'd be very, very horrible if Gyökeres scores against Man United for Arsenal. It would be very, very horrible. It'd be a nasty feeling. It would be because, you know, it would be a very bitter feeling. I hope that he has an absolute stinker against Man United on the opening game. And I hope that Man United beat Arsenal. We have to beat Arsenal anyway. I think if Man United lose that game, you know, this could get pretty treacherous, guys. The thing that I'm worried about is that everyone is going to forget about the window. They're going to forget about, you know, what Ineos didn't do, and they're going to blame Ruben Amorim, and they're going to pile all the pressure on Ruben Amorim. And this is where I worry for him, because we could go 2 ways here, right? Man United could beat Arsenal. Everyone's giddy. It's great. We beat Arsenal. Then we can go to the Cottage and we can beat Fulham. Then we can go and beat Burnley. And then things will go, oh, yeah, we're looking all right, to be honest with you. But remember this, you can't change the spots on the leopard. These same players have done it before. They've done it before under various managers, that when they can win against anybody, they can beat Barcelona, they can beat Arsenal, they can beat Liverpool, they can beat City home and away. They can do that. They've proven they can do that. We know that Man United players can do that. But what they haven't shown us over the years is consistency. Because Man United are the kind of team to do this. Man United are the kind of team, this bunch of players are the kind of team to beat Arsenal, right? And then lose to Fulham. Then draw against Burnley. And then everything looks a pretty crap again, doesn't it? You know what I mean? That's the type of thing that Man United do. This bunch of Man United players. So what we need is we need a squad, a nucleus of that squad that is different from various years. So we can have hope that at least we got 5 or 6 new players. That, you know what I mean? You could think like that. We got 5, we still got Bruno, we still got Maguire, we still got these players, you know what I mean, who's still in the football club stinking out the place. You know, and that's the thing that why we still got Rasmus Højlund up front. You know, is he really going to be that guy? I mean, I hope that these guys turn into world-class players. I hope they do. Like in regards to younger players, for example, Rasmus Højlund, Ahmad, Collier, and Yoro. Yoro for me is already generational. Aiden Heaven, like I look at Man United's team right now, and I think about players that I would keep. I would say that, yeah, these are good players. These are players that can bring us forward. And I think like Aiden Heaven, Lenny Yoro, Mazraoui, probably Delict, Dorgu, Ahmad, and probably Mainu, but I wouldn't put my house on it, but probably Mainu. And you look at that now, Cunha. We got 8 players there, right? On average, 8 players. That I would look at these 8 players and I think, yeah, guarantees to be in that Man United fold. Maybe Ugarte. Let's say 9, right? 9 players. You need a squad about 20. Man United have got 9 players. I would say, I think they're okay. You know what I mean? Look, you know what? I think they're right. But we need more. We need 20 proper good players, guys. Proper players. So big up Paul Play. Maybe I'm 100% wrong, but these Ineos are saving a few million because Mbeumo anyway coming to United, but they have to sell Rashi and Sanchez, so they have their wages. Now, what I would say, Paul, is that it's not so much the price of the player. It's not so much the price of the player. It's more to do with the payment structure of what they want. Brentford want an upfront fee. Man United don't want to pay an upfront fee. Man United want to pay in installments. That's what we're looking to do at the moment. Man United are penny pinching at the moment. And that's what's going on. Man United need to sell players anyway. It's quite obvious that we need to get rid of Rashford. We need to get rid of Anthony. We need to get rid of Garnacho. There's players that need to leave because they don't want to play for the football club. And there's obviously those famous 5, obviously, that Man United need to get rid of. And obviously the problem is that Man United can't get rid of a lot of these players. I mean, obviously Malacia, no one wants Malacia, of course. Who's going to go out and buy Malacia? Do you know what I mean? These players we might have to release on a free transfer, which is going to be difficult because it's expensive as well. Big up, Miles. What's going on, you legend? Hope you're doing well. Direction, how sad. God bless you. Anyways, but big up, brother. Thank you so much for your lovely message, mate. It is very disappointing because of obviously Man United again. Look, I told you earlier about Chelsea throwing things against the wall and hoping something sticks. Now, what Man United are doing it with a bunch of, let's say, how do you say it? Like, Man United are throwing things against the wall, hoping something sticks in regards to, we'll take anyone. We'll take the things that fall off the wall. We'll just take anyone. That's what Man United are doing at the moment. Whereas Chelsea would take the ones that stick on the wall. Huncho. Arsenal signing Zubimendi and we will be looking at Tolisso. Look, guys. Look. Football doesn't deal with absolutes. Okay? Personally, can I be real with you guys? I'm going to be absolutely real and brutal here. Zubimendi's overrated. I don't really care about Zubimendi. I have no bothers about Zubimendi whatsoever. I think Thomas Partey is probably as good as him. I don't really fear Arsenal like that because football doesn't deal with absolutes. And that's my personal opinion. Tolisso is a World Cup winner. He has been around the block. So he's not a bad player. My only thing is that I don't think we should prioritise in certain players in midfield. You know, I know that our midfield is a little bit on the weak side, but, you know, I won't be prioritising that. I'm not worried about what Arsenal do, to be honest, because I don't think we're really on the level of Arsenal right now. We can't even look at Arsenal right now. Arsenal are miles ahead of us, you know, and that is because of Ineos, you know, and the Glazers. I never thought I'd see Arsenal miles ahead of us. I never thought I'd see that, you know what I mean? But yeah. And you know what we're going to be doing next season, guys? Hoping that your Keres flops. And I never wanted to be that guy. I never wanted to be the guy that does hate-alongs, that hopes that someone flops. Because I always used to concentrate on what Man United were doing, you know? I always used to think, I'd never be that guy who hopes that someone loses, so, you know what I mean, it makes me happy. Because it doesn't. You know, this is what I was saying last year, you know, when people were laughing at Liverpool when they lost or laughing at Arsenal when they lost. I didn't care. I didn't care because all I cared about was what Man United do. I don't want to look at any other team. Even now, I don't want to look at them and say, oh, yeah, they're killing it. They're smashing it. You know what I mean? I don't want to look at them. I want to go what's going on with Man United. You know what I mean? And, you know, and I don't want to compare anything because we're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near where we need to be. You know, we can't even look at Arsenal at the moment in eye to eye, which is embarrassing, you know, as a Manchester United fan for nearly 40 years. It's embarrassing that we can't look at Arsenal eye to eye and look at them and say, we're competing with you. When we should be competing with the likes of Arsenal. And no, we shouldn't even be thinking about Arsenal. We're banter to Man United for many years. I used to love playing against Arsenal. I used to love it. Okay, we're going to beat you again. I used to be like that. Do you know what I mean? 8-1. You know, was it 8-2? 6-1. 6-2. You aim it. 4-0 with a reserve team. You know what I mean? That's what we used to do to Arsenal. And even last season, we managed to beat them with 10 men. So the thing is that, you know, I don't like looking at Arsenal. Good luck to them. And, yeah, I don't rate Zubimendi, in my opinion, like people rate him. I don't. I think he's another Merida or whatever he is. And, yeah, I think he's a decent player, but he's not a world beater. I come from a generation, mate, of Roy Keanes and people like that in the midfield. I don't think we should be fearing, you know, Zubimendi, to be honest with you. Hopefully, the way that Casemiro's training, he looks like nice and trim. He might be able to be all right for a few games. Big up, Huncho. So I'll go to the next news conference. Please ask Bruno, who told him they have money. Look, Sal, go to the next news conference. Please ask Bruno, who told him they have money. Exactly. Man United rejected a £100 million offer for Bruno because Man United have money and they're relaxed. That's it. At the end of the day, I don't want to hear anything about Ineos have got no money. They've got no money. They ain't got no money. FFP, PSR, they're struggling, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear anything about that. I don't want to be feeding into their little excuses, their narrative. This is the one thing I don't like about FFP and PSR in particular is that it gives people like Jim Ratcliffe an excuse. You know, and I'm tired of these excuses. I don't want to hear excuses. You bought the football club. You purchased the football club. Right? Now you fix the football club. This is your duty. You stopped £1 billion ownership coming to Man United in regards to a proper £1 billion ownership who were going to splash money on this football club. You got in the way of that. So you fix the football club now. This is your responsibility to do it. It's like me built buying a derelict house, right? It's a bit like me buying a derelict house, and I got in the way of a billionaire who's going to buy the house and turn it into a hospital. You know, and I bought the house, and I'm like, what should I do with it? I can't really afford the bathroom. I can't really afford upstairs. I can't. It's a bit expensive. What we're going to do, right? We're going to paint it, make it look nice a little bit, and maybe buy a fridge. You know, and this is what it is. You know, so I don't want to hear anything about they've got no money because they've got money. I don't want to hear that on the street. They've got no money. They're broke. They've got money. They're not broke. Billionaires will deceive you. They will say that they're broke, but they're not. I wouldn't be surprised if they basically sacked all those people, those hundreds of people at Old Trafford, to give the illusion that they are broke. That's what the things they do. That's the kind of things they do. They give you the illusion that they're broke. They're not broke. They're just penny pinching. They don't want to spend their own money. Todd Bowley is putting money into his own football club. He's finding loopholes to make it work. We're finding loopholes not to make it work. Do you know what I mean? We're finding loopholes not to make it work. We're finding loopholes not to spend money. That's what Ineos are doing. They're finding ways not to spend money, excuses not to spend money. Now, you can tell, and I'll tell you what, you can tell when they're on the interview, when Jim Ratcliffe is speaking to the media, when any of his representatives are speaking on the media, he's basically talking negative. He'll never mention what money's coming in. He will always mention what money's coming out. And you know why, don't you? You know, that's exactly what it is. He wants to put as much money in his pocket as possible. He wants that regeneration project. He wants his name up in lights. That's what he wants. He wants the Ineos Stadium. He wants the Sir Jim Ratcliffe Way. He wants the, you know, and God forbid, the Glazer Hotel. Now, that's a hotel that we want to be going in, isn't it? Goodness. It's basically like, you ever heard of the Cecil Hotel in America? You know, that very bad luck hotel, the Cecil Hotel. That will be the Glazer Hotel. That basically be it. That is what the Glazer Hotel would be. If there was a Glazer Hotel, it would be the Cecil Hotel. That's what it would be in Los Angeles. If you know, you know. Yeah. So that's what I believe. Big up, Mickey. Good morning, Amika. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good morning, Nicholas Bell. He put 275 million to no. That was part of the contract when he bought the football club. The 275 million was all part of the deal. It was part of the deal to buy the football club. That was part of the deal. He had to put 275 as part of the deal to buy that percentage of the football club. That was part of the deal because the Glazers didn't want to spend that, right? He put 275 million. You know how much Bowley's put in? Do you want me to tell you how much Bowley's put into Chelsea? You know what I mean? Big deal. You put 275 million into the football club. Big deal. That was part of the deal. That was part of you. You know how much Qatar would have put into the football club? You know how much Qatar? This is exactly what people want you to say. He put 275 million football club. He didn't. He reluctantly put it in. He put up to $1 billion into this football club, but most of it went into the Glazers' pocket. Let me tell you that right now. Into the Glazers' pocket. I will tell you, every single Manchester United player, every single Manchester United representative, and I know people at the club, they've done F-all. It's a manipulation. Natty. Sal, at this stage, how many players will sign? At this stage, Natty, what I would say is that Man United will sign a number 10, a striker, and a goalkeeper. So we're looking at altogether 4 players, which was Cunha, Mbeumo, a striker, and a goalkeeper. So it will be that. Probably 3 or 4, I would say. Realistically, Natty, I would say 3 or 4 players are coming into the football club. That's going to be realistic. Even then, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, you know what, I can't guarantee that. I can't guarantee that I believe that 100%, you know? Hancho, if we are a serious club, we should look at Sesko. Look, one thing I would say about Sesko, and I don't want to flip-flop from this because I was saying this when Arsenal were about to sign him. I said that he scored how many goals? He scored 13 goals in 33 appearances for his club, which is not a good return. It's not a good return. But my argument is, if Arsenal couldn't agree terms with Sesko, how are Manchester United going to agree terms with Sesko? If Arsenal can't do it, how are Man United going to do it? How are we going to agree terms with Sesko if Arsenal can't agree with it? You know what I mean? And they couldn't agree terms with Sesko. So that's interesting. Milton, perhaps his age and thinking of Ratcliffe's problem is Ratcliffe's problem. Perhaps his age and way of thinking. Yeah, perhaps, as I said, right, houses in the 1970s were worth about £5,000, right? Houses now are worth, what, £500,000 in London, okay? So basically what Jim Ratcliffe is thinking about is that he's thinking about on the basis of a prehistoric mentality that you can penny pinch and you can get what you want if you penny pinch. You can't do that these days. Things are too expensive, right? It's not like the olden days, right? You can't buy a pint of milk for a penny or sixpence, okay? You can't do that anymore, Jim. He's 77 and he has an old school mentality. That's fair enough at the end of the day. But he's not in tune with reality, what's going on here. Football clubs are completely different. Football clubs, at the end of the day, you have to spend money. By hook or by crook, you've got to spend money. Every single club in all 5 divisions in England the successful ones spend money. Look at Wrexham. Look at Wrexham right now. Let me tell you that. Look how much money they've spent. They're in the Championship. They're in the National League. Every club that spends money. My local club is a team called Leyton Orient. You may have known them. They lost the League One playoff final in the summer to Charlton Athletic. Okay, so they don't spend money, and they never go above League One. They never go above League One. But the teams that spend money, they come up. Newcastle spent money. Remember, guys, I come from a generation when Newcastle United were in the lower divisions. They spent money and they got promoted. Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn Rovers came out of obscurity to win the Premier League title by spending money. Chelsea never won a league in 50, 60 years. Won the league by spending money. It happens, guys. You have to spend money. You think that, the PSG or Man City, all these teams don't spend money? Man United even spent money. They had to spend money. Even though it was our own money, we weren't giving it. We get our own money. We had to spend money to be successful. For Rooney, for Rio Ferdinand, for Nemanja Vidic, for Jaap Stam. We had to spend money. Dwight York, Andy Cole. We had to spend money. You have to. And success doesn't come from penny pinching. Success doesn't come from, making cutbacks. You cannot compensate anything when you're trying to be a successful football team. In the Premier League, the margins are so thin. It could be the difference between 4th and 8th. That is how thin the margins are by one player. One player can make the difference. I'll give you an example. Robin van Persie came into Man United and took us from 2nd to 1st. Annihilated us to 1st. One player. When we lost the title to Manchester City back in 2012, people were looking at Manchester United thinking, we're not going to win the league for a while. This Man City team is pretty good. And we're on a decline. And then Alex Ferguson brought in Robin van Persie. And then obviously he won us the league. It takes one player sometimes. This is the difference. Like if we don't get Mbeumo through the door, but we only got Cunha. But Mbeumo could be the difference between Man United qualifying for a Champions League and Man United coming 8th. That is how serious the Premier League is. And our margins are. The Premier League is a different beast, guys. Look what Chelsea did to Manchester City, to PSG. Look what Chelsea did to PSG. The Premier League is a completely different animal. Randall. Morning, Sal. This is a Joker chance of the week. 6 weeks. Kidding me. So Jim Ratchet pay up what they want. Absolutely. Big up, Randall. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Hope everything's blessed. Next year, they will sack the manager and recycle to continue unless the owners, they blame the manager. They make him responsible for everything that happens at the club. Exactly. And then you're going to get these fickle fans that are going to be coming out of nowhere, starts Ruben out, he's a Portuguese fraud. You know the same guys? That sit there with their new era cap? You know them. They're going to do that next year. Don't worry about that. They do not put any energy on the Ineos. They do not put any energy on the Glazers. They just think about the manager. They're so dumb mentality. They don't really think logically. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And this is what they're going to do next season. Now I can foresee it already. I've seen it already. We saw it from Ashley Young on Sky Sports. Talking about Ruben Amram. Ruben Amram. He's got no chances this time. He's got no excuses. What the fuck? If anyone has got excuses, it's Ruben Amram. You know what I mean? I cannot believe what he said. Hey, big up Timo. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, bro. Hope everything is blessed with you. Thank you so much for joining the stream. How you doing? Hope you're well. Look, it is a very, very treacherous time for Manchester United, and we are we're getting on the point of no return, guys. We're mid-July. We're edging towards August. So what does that tell you? Right, we're probably getting Mbeumo. The next transfer we're going to do will be in August at this rate, right? It's going to be in August, isn't it? So we're going to be all the players, most of the players that we're going to be signing are going to be touching the first Premier League game of the season, which we didn't want. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we didn't want this. I wouldn't be surprised if Man United get players in on the last day of the transfer window, which is the last day of August, September the 1st, and stuff like that, you know? Dan, let's just hope Ruben can make something of this preseason. Look, let me give some positives, because I know I've been speaking a lot of negatives, okay? Man United have a great young team, right? They have a great conveyor belt of young players that are coming through. There are players there that can shine, that can show themselves. My thing is, if Man United don't want to spend money, we're going to have to concentrate on the youth team, right? And the thing is, that's not always a bad thing, but you do need a nucleus of experienced players in that team, right? So if Man United don't want to spend money, right, and the only saving grace for me is that we've got the likes of Mantata, we've got Ahmad, we've got Chido Obi Martin, we've got Lenny Yoro, we've got Aiden Heaven, we've got Dorgu. We've got these players there. You know, we've also got Tyler Fletcher in that midfield, Hutchinson. We've got players there that can make a difference. Kone as well. So we've got young players, and that's the positive I would bring on it. But I hate to quote, obviously, Alan Hansen from way back in the 90s. You can't win anything in kids. Well, you can. And we proved that we could, right? But you can't win anything of kids surrounded by a bunch of players who've never won. When we won things with kids, there was Schmeichel, there was Roy Keane, there was Steve Bruce, there was Dennis Irwin, there was Eric Cantona, there was Andy Cole, there was Ryan Giggs. You know what I mean? That's when we won with kids. We had already a nucleus of the team that had already won multiple trophies, right? This time, if we bring in Chido, if we bring in Fletcher, if we bring in Mbeumo, if we bring in, Collier, if we bring in Aiden Heaven and Kulungi and Hutchinson, and, if we start bringing in these players, right? Kone, Musa, who are they surrounded by that they could look at and say, he's a winner? Because when I look at, and I rate Bruno, but even when I look at Bruno, the captain, ain't you the captain who lost the game against Tottenham Hotspur? Not only Tottenham Hotspur, you lost against Tottenham Hotspur, a weakened Tottenham Hotspur, who had 3 or 4 of their best players out. Right? So you're that guy who captained that team to that. The worst defeat in my Man United life, right? And I've been to sport Man United nearly 40 years. The worst defeat in my Man United life was that Tottenham Hotspur game. For me, many of those players lost my trust. Many of those players completely gone with me now. I don't like these players. I'm not going to pretend I like them players. I'm not going to just say, oh my goodness me, he scored this many on the stat pad. Let's stat pad our way. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to do that. These players got a lot to answer for. They embarrassed me last season. They embarrassed the fan base last season. We lost to Tottenham in the European final. European final, we made European football in England. We made European football. We're the ones who put European football on the map in England, and they lost to Tottenham. Unbelievable. A weakened Tottenham. Milton, Amon can only work with the available players. He has a huge task on his hands now. Absolutely, Milton. And this is what people need to remember this, right? If we don't get any players in, we got to understand where we're going, right? Ruben Amorim is trying to fight a sword fight with a breadstick, as I said many, many times, right? He's going into a race with a full escort, fighting against Ferrari and stuff like that. That's what he's doing at the moment. And, what they're trying to make him, they're trying to penny pinch. It's a bit like when I used to go to school. And I came from a poor background, right? And I used to wear the same trousers, the same shirt, every single day. When I went to college, even up to the time I went to college, the same tracksuit bottoms. I used to have like 3 pairs of clothes, right? Right? And what I used to have is my Man United top, my tracksuit bottoms, and a pair of trousers. And I used to go every day to college and school and college like that until I got a job, right? And I started working overtimes in McDonald's. Right, and I used to be like 11 p.m. I used to finish college and go to McDonald's at 11 p.m. at night in East London, right, and come and finish very, very late. Now, this is what Man United are trying to do. I would never pull anyone because I was a tramp. I would never get jobs of any kind of magnitude because I had no clothes that looked smart, right? All I had was a bloody Man United top and a few tracksuit bottoms. That didn't get me success. But when you get a job like I did, I got the job in McDonald's, I started investing in clothes. And I started becoming more popular. And that's what happens. But if you don't invest, if you think, you know what, wear that raggedy old top, wear this, you know what I mean? You know what? Can we squeeze Bruno into a good footballer? Can we squeeze him into a championship challenging player? Can we squeeze Maguire into prime Maldini? Can we make him like that? Can we do that? You know, can we get like, you know what, Luke Shaw to be fit again? Can we fix that leg and make him a great left back and make him into Shawberto Carlos? Can we do that? And this is the whole thing what I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't. You need to just say, look, these guys have been there for years. Luke Shaw's been there since the Louis van Gaal days. These players have been there for a number of years. They're not going to get any better. This is what we have. They don't go out there losing games by purpose, right? They just don't know how to win games, certain games. They don't know how to negotiate certain games. They don't know how to fight against the low block. They don't know how to be creative to open the low block. They don't know how to win games by the odd goal. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to play badly and win. When we play badly, we lose. Generally, we lose. Big up. What kind of house that we ordered? Big up, Natty, my friend. Albie, I am just hoping if things to go south that Amram will speak out about the bad owners. Look, you know what? The only one guy has done this so far, and that was Jose Mourinho. He was the only one who did that so far. Unfortunately, I went to some games during the Jose Mourinho period, and it was a very toxic atmosphere. Great for Ineos. No, great for Glazers at the time. Great for the Glazers because, you know what, the Glazers, they want the attention diverted away from them. And, Jose Mourinho spoke the truth, and Jose Mourinho spoke out against the ownership. The only other guy was Ralph Rangnick. He spoke out about it. Open heart surgery, the famous quote, open heart surgery, what we need and stuff like that. And he didn't only mean open heart surgery in regards to the team. Ralph Rangnick meant the whole club. He meant that from top to bottom, we need open heart surgery, the whole club. And that's what he meant. He didn't just mean about players, guys. Guys, he meant the whole club. So basically what I've been talking about for the last few weeks and months about culture at this football club, that is exactly what he meant. The culture at this football club needs to change. Open heart surgery. It needs to change. The whole culture. We need to think that we are Manchester United. We should be winning league title. Not happy with 8th. Be all right if we come 8th, wouldn't it? No, we need to understand that who we bloody are. Do you think Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, do you think they go into the season? Even AC Milan, right? Even AC Milan, who have been poor for many, many years now and not been the AC Milan of old, they don't go into the season thinking that we're going to come 8th. They don't. And we're thinking like, we're Man United. Yeah, we'll be all right with 8th. We'll be all right with 6th. Even if it is unrealistic, we should put expectations on Ineos. We should heap expectations on Ineos because at the moment, what happens if you approach Sir Jim Ratcliffe, right, and you say to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Sir Jim says to you, right, I'm going to take you shopping, Sal. You could buy what you want, right? You could buy what you want. Now, I could have high expectations and I can say, right, I'm going to buy myself a Gucci this, a Versace this, a Prada this, a Dolce & Gabbana this. But if I go in that shop and I get if I get Primark, no offense, you think he's going to say no? You think he's going to say, no, buy the expensive one. No, we have high expectations, Sal. We have high expectations. You need to look good, Sal. We need to get you some proper designer clothes. That's what happens when you start saying to him, I'm happy with 8th. I'm happy with 6th. He would smile. He'd be delighted. You know why? Because he's going to make money and he won't need to invest. Because the lower you are in the table, the less expectations you have and the less you have to spend money. And that is what I would say. That's why never lower your expectations. Ever. Never lower your expectations. And one thing I would say, people are going to blame Ruben Amorim if you don't get to that expectations. But don't. Because it's not him. We can get anyone in this football club. Luis Enrique. You can get Luis Enrique if you want. You can get Ancelotti if you want. Zinedine Zidane if you want. That we're not going to move up this table penny pinching. Doesn't matter what manager you get into this football club. 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 4-5-1, whatever you want. We're not going to get any success with the way we're doing things right now. So we have to hold the Ineos and the ownership accountable. Open heart surgery. Big up Asif, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good morning. Good to see you again. And Natty, they are doing that because they do not have tangible things to fear Ineos. That's why they are doing this. Big up, my friend. Big up, Tyra Gunner. Big up, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Good to see Tyra Gunner TV. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're blessed. Absolutely. Natty, if we are not successful, we will lose our fans and moral respect nowadays. People will not support our only history. Look, one thing I would say, and I've mentioned this a few times at Man United, on this stream, there's going to come a time, right, where people are not going to remember Man United's success. Now, I'll give you an example. 1999 was 26 years ago. There are players now that are like Richard Rios, right, for example, who's 25. He won't remember. He weren't born when Man United won the treble. This is a reality that we have to remember. So those players being raised, they could vaguely probably remember 2008, 2013. They could probably vaguely remember that when they were younger. But there's going to be a time that they're not going to remember any successful periods at Man United. And they're going to think of Man United like a bloody Preston North End or something like that who used to be successful. That's what they're going to think about. And this happened to Liverpool back in the 90s and the turn of the century, that people didn't want to sign for Liverpool because obviously they're not champions, they're not challenging for the league. And we would get the Rio Ferdinands. They would get the likes of Patrick Berger and, these kind of players that are okay. You know what I mean? They would get like players like that, like of that kind of Stan Collymore and these are decent players, pros, right? But Man United would get the Wayne Rooneys, the Rio Ferdinands, the Jaap Stams, the Manja Vidic, the Ruud van Nistelrooys, the up-and-coming, the next level up-and-coming players. That's what Man United would get. Liverpool will get the next tier down. Now, this is what's going to happen to Man United now, because players are not going to remember where Man United were, who Man United are. They're not going to look at Man United's history. People are not going to take it upon themselves to go to Man United's history books and start reading about what Man United did in the 1950s and 60s. They're not going to do that, as sadly as it is, but they're not going to do that. People are now going to be thinking about themselves, Champions League, money, you know what I mean? And that's it. Every team has money now. You know, especially those teams in the Champions League. They have money. Chelsea made 200 million in a matter of months because they qualified for the Champions League and they won the World Cup Championship. And people go down and play this World Cup Championship. It's football heritage, guys. They're building their heritage. Chelsea are building their heritage. They're winning. They've won everything. How long is our heritage going to last? We're still the most successful team in England. You know, in regards to, over the last 30 years. We're still the most successful Premier League team. Not Division 1 and that, but Premier League team. We're the second in regards to Champions League. But how long is that going to last? Chelsea have 2 Champions Leagues. Eventually, the teams are going to catch up, So we got to make sure that doesn't happen. Sir Alex Ferguson famously said, I want to knock Liverpool off their perch. He famously said that. Now we're putting them back on their perch. Not only them, other teams as well. Excuse me. Yeah, not only them as well, other teams as well. Yeah. It's frustrating and sad, isn't it? Asif, another Sporting Ineos takeover said that it's Glazers too. This is a commercial club, Van Gaal. No matter what monkey never forgets jumping around. This football club, ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, has had no direction, has had no plan, has had no idea where they want to go. We've had the likes of Louis Van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ralph Ragnick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and even we've had Ryan Giggs for a period. We've had bloody Eric Ten Hag, and now there's no direction. They're completely different managers, every single one of them. And Man United have become a commercial club, and Louis Van Gaal was completely right at that time. Man United do not care about what happens on the football pitch. They care about things like the regeneration project. They care about getting that new stadium. They care about getting Ineos Stadium up in lights. Do you know what I mean? They care about getting Sir Jim Ratcliffe Way. Don't be surprised, guys. We've got Sir Matt Busby Way, the legend, right? We've got Sir Matt Busby. Don't be surprised is that when the new stadium is built, you're going to see Jim Ratcliffe this, Jim Ratcliffe that. Ineos this, Ineos that, Glazer this, Glazer's that. You're going to see it, guys. Remember these words. You're going to see it everywhere. No where you look, where you turn around. Ineos this, Ineos that, this, that. Glazers this, Jim this. This is their project. The Glazers sent a letter to the Manchester Council in 2018. They had already prepared for this regeneration project. Now, the only person that could have facilitated this regeneration project is Jim Ratcliffe, because his relationship with Lord Coe, and Lord Coe, as we know, is organised the 2012 Olympic Games around the corner from where I used to live in Stratford, right? So this is what happens, right? He needed him. He needed him. They need each other. They love each other. Jim Ratcliffe and Glazers. Jim Ratcliffe and Glazers. Intertwined. They need each other. They like each other. They're great people, as he said, because they're both going to get a slice of that big regeneration pie. Commercial football club. They want to spend as little as possible on this deal on Manchester United Football Club. That's what they want to do. If they had any aspirations on being a successful football ownership, this Mbeumo deal, how much do Brentford want? All right, okay. Try and see if we can knock them down. No, they want that. They want that and that. Okay, just pay the money, get Embumo in. Next. That's what they should have been doing. Now, people are turning around and saying, no, but you used to moan when they used to overspend. Yeah, because they were spending badly. Embumo's not bad. 65 million, 70 million for Embumo is valuation. Why is it valuation? He scored 20 goals in the Premier League last season. That's valuation. That's the difference, right? So Embumo, he's worth it. 20 goals last season. Dangerous player. Get him in the door. Get him, move on to the next. If they really cared about the football club, they would have just, as I said, threw everything against the wall like Todd Bowley did and just bloody spend. Get some wrong, get some right, get some wrong, get some right. It's okay to overspend on players, right? It's okay, right? If you keep going and you throw things at the wall. He's not good, send him off. Yeah, he's good. And that is exactly what Man City did. The only reason that people don't notice what Man City did and what Chelsea are doing is because they get it right in the end. People won't look at the players that Man City have bought and become complete flops. People will look at Man United and the players we bought in and becoming complete flops because that's all we have. We buy Anthony for 90 million. We have to stick with Anthony for 90 million. We can't say he's not good enough, get someone else. You know, back in the day when we were rich, when we didn't have the Glazers, we were trying to replace Peter Schmeichel. When Peter Schmeichel left, we bought in Massimo Taibi for a hefty fee back then for a goalkeeper, right? It didn't work out the door, another goalkeeper in. Didn't work out the door, another goalkeeper in. We have to sign Onana and we have to make it work. Make it work or else. That's what we have to do. Denbo, good morning. How you doing, my friend? I'll be doing well. Morning, Sal. If these rumours were true, our squad would be 182 players. I would prefer that than 8 players. Saviour, good morning, sir. 6 weeks that has gone waiting for Mbeumo deal. We'll end up not signing any player if we stick to one player. Let's move on. If we can't sign Mbeumo, let's look for a striker who can score goals. Big up, Saviour. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Only 42 likes, guys. Can we get the likes up to 50, 60? Come on, guys. Thank you so much, Gray, you legend. Fire, I'd rather have Seko Coney. Big up, Fire boy. If we take 6 weeks to sign Mbeumo, how much time will it take to get strikers? Probably just as long, Nutty. We'll probably be in the season. It'll probably be by the 1st of September, which will be the end of the transfer window, of course, guys. Absolutely. Guys, absolutely. Special likes and subscribe. Thank you so much, Natty, you legend. Thank you. Guys, absolutely. Big up, Fun Show. What's going on? Good to see you, mate. I love Tolisso and I don't mind him, but we need more. I agree with that, Fun Show. Absolutely. Absolutely. Asif, Jim Rat is a Chelsea season ticket holder. He ain't no United fan. There's no evidence to suggest he's even a football fan, Asif. He's not a Man United fan, that's for certain. People played on that. People were manipulated by that. And I would say this, and no offense, right, Asif? The weak people believed it. The weak people believed it. They believed it. And we said it way back. He's lying to you guys. He's not a Man United fan. I said it back then. Let him prove to us that he is a Man United fan. Let him prove to us. Show us some photos of you at Old Trafford. He's 77 years old, right? He's 77. He's been a billionaire for, 40 years? He's been a millionaire and a billionaire. Okay, so he hasn't been broke that long. So what I would say to them, instead of trying to big him up and walking into hell with a blindfold, Why don't you say to Jim Ratcliffe, can you show us some pictures of you at Old Trafford in the 1990s? Or, you know what, in the turn of the century, 2002, 2003, you were a millionaire then. You could have went to Man United games. Have you got any pictures of you in a Man United jersey at Old Trafford around that time? Can you show us that? Can you prove to us that you are a Man United through and through? You love Man United. He can't, because he spends most of his time in London and Monaco, and he supports Chelsea. He don't support Chelsea. He just likes Chelsea because he likes Chelsea because obviously Abramovich and money and Chelsea, London and da-da-da. And it's an asset. It's money. Being in London, football club in London, owning the football club in London. Whoa, it's very, very, a lot of money there. That's why he wanted a Chelsea season ticket. And that's why he wanted to buy Chelsea. He has more allegiance towards Chelsea than he does for Manchester United. Sadly, but true. Guys, thank you for joining me today, you absolute legends. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And also, please don't forget to smash a like on the video as well, guys. Please, if you guys can do that for me, guys. Yeah. Bradley, big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Like this. Exactly. We need to get the regeneration project cancelled. And how do we do that? Tweet Lord Co. Lord Co. Tweet him. And try and sway him away from this regeneration project, guys. That's what Man United need to do, and Man United fans need to do. We can only do so much, guys, but that's what we need to do, guys. Absolutely, guys, absolutely. But thank you everyone for joining me, you absolute legends. Please don't forget to big up Done and Dusted. Big up Done and Dusted. That's my line, Done and Dusted. That's my transfer line. Big up Done and Dusted anyway. United and Mbeumo needs to go in for service. Dabizas, big up everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Sal Warner. This is Stretford Post. Let me just read through these 1 second. And don't forget to join me for later on for Chatterboxer. And don't forget to put your notifications on as well when I go live, guys. You were here. And, because you never know what's going to happen, do you? We hope. Guys, take it easy. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn. And I'll see you later. Cheers.